People who were born deaf but gained hearing later in life, what objects did you expect to make noise? Story 1. My cousin was born deaf and went through an operation to recover part of his hearing when he was 12. He sometimes uses hearing aids, but can get by without them in general. His family had a bunny, Tupu. Of course he had learned about cows mooing, cats meowing, etc. before he had his surgery. He was very shocked when he came home and greeted his bunny that it made no sound. It took the longest time for him to understand that bunnies are pretty quiet animals in general. He explained he thought all pets were loud. Story 2. My old roommate in NYC got implants at, I think he was 25 or 26. He was shocked that the radiators in the house didn't make noise. He could feel them, and was absolutely sure, given their shaking and vibrating from time to time, that they were going to be quite noisy. On the flip side, he was deeply annoyed by the buzz of fluorescent lighting, which he did not expect to make noise. Story 3. I had a child friend that gained hearing, and she didn't realize you could control the volume of your voice. So when I whispered to her, she said, "Hang on, I think I need to adjust my hearing aid." At first, I just thought, oh, it mustn't be working, until I realized what was going on. She whispered to me for about 2 weeks solid just to practice. Yes, she also practiced shouting, but we did that in secluded woodlands. Story 4. My younger brother is hard of hearing in one ear only, and for some inexplicable reason our parents never told us. Maybe Dad thought if we treated him normally, he would magically hear, so we would always make fun of him when his whispers were too loud. They were whispers for him. Story 5. Well, after the cochlear implant, I started hearing a lot of things that I never knew existed. But here are a few things I thought would make a noise, but no. Edit to clarify this. I expected the light bulbs to hiss, or flickering sound when you turn them on. I was so disappointed. I thought you could hear your eyes close, blink, but there is no sound when you close your eyelids. No whoosh. You know how wine makes a noise going through trees? I thought it would make more noises going through hair. Nope. Now I could hear soft sounds, but I still get spooked when I see a bug crawling, and I don't hear it. They don't make a noise. At all. Pooping does not make a sound, only the splash into the toilet. I thought the body makes a noise to push it out. I was disappointed. Story 6. Got waterproof hearing aids. Taking a shower scared the everlasting Christ out of me. Edit. I have a cochlear implant on one side, hearing aid on the other. I don't use waterproof unless I go swimming. One time, after swimming, I decided to keep them on when I was showering, and I got shivers down my spine. Story 7. Seems like everyone is answering the reverse. My friend got his hearing at age 6. He swears to this day that he thought flowers would make some sort of noise, and that's what attracted bees. Story 8. I had a friend who was ambushed by bandits who stole his supply of sweet rolls he was supposed to sell at a small town. They messed up his leg pretty badly when it got pierced by an arrow. While limping away from the battle, he heard a noise, and immediately thought it was someone who could help him. Instead, he found Nernrit. He stayed by it until an adventurer heard the noise, found him, and brought him to the nearest town. My dear friend is now a guard at said town. Story 9. I wasn't born deaf, but went deaf due to illness probably around the age of 4 months. Got my hearing back around 8 years old through surgery. I used to think traffic lights made noise. Street signs too. Like when a stop sign has a blinking light for added visibility. I think that's actually where I got the idea in my head. They're trying to get your attention, right? So of course they must put sirens in all the traffic lights. My mom says I used to hold my ears when we drive through an intersection, though I don't remember that part. Story 10. Not me, my good friend who's hard of hearing told me about how before he got hearing aids, he thought that all fridges made a beeping sound, like an alarm, when you open them so the house knows when you're getting something. Turns out his mom just told him that to stop him from eating all their snacks. Story 11. My daughter suffered from recurring ear infections that went on for over a year before I could get the doctors to push for tubes in her ears. I felt that she was either unable to hear or that it was very muffled. The doctor that placed the tubes confirmed my suspicions in stating that she most likely heard noise as though she was underwater. I cannot attest to what exactly she expected to make noise, but I still tear up when I think about her face as she re-explored the entire house with renewed fascination. I can, however, give my subjective opinion based on her facial expressions. The thing that sticks out the most is the refrigerator. She was in awe over the humming noise that it makes, a noise that we often tune out because we are so accustomed to it. As she focused on that appliance for a bit, she made her way around to everything else that was large and stood in front of it, as if she was expecting everything to have its own secret noise. I can't say for sure, but the amount of time that she stayed with her face pressed up against the inactive washing machine and dryer leads me to believe with almost certainty that she was expecting those to hum and were as well. At her age, you wouldn't expect her to make a correlation between similarly sized appliances, but I'll be damned if it didn't appear that way. Story 12. I had the whole underwater situation too. Mine was a little above 2 years' time. I was very young though, maybe 3 or 4. But mine kinda messed up my speech for a long time. I still have a slight speech impediment today, but I can catch myself a lot now. But I was in speech classes for about 8 years before I finally fixed it all. I hope this part didn't happen to your daughter, because having a speech impediment truly sucks. But I'm glad that you guys at least got the ears fixed. Story 13. I had a friend who was born deaf, but got hearing aids. She always thought people yawning was people randomly screaming, so it always confused her why people would be screaming in the library, movies, at church, in public, etc. She never asked why were people screaming because she thought it was normal. After she got the hearing aid, she thought she'd be hearing people scream when they yawned.